G'day legends. I figured I might as well actually do a intro about myself, where I am, who I am, what to expect of the channel, and just a little bit of background knowledge for you guys, something a little bit different. Coronavirus has actually made it a bit hard to do a bit of content, so obviously I can't go away, but living in Victoria on stage 4 lockdown, might as well do a couple of reviews here and there. Just on gear that I've used and I know that works. Give you guys a little background knowledge about myself, so I might as well start there and crack open a can. So, pretty much the 79 series is my first four-wheel drive that I've actually ever owned. Originally started out that I just wanted to get a 20,000 SR5 Hilux and take it out bush and do a bit of deer hunting, a bit of camping, and pretty much a year later didn't find anything that I wanted, and I stumbled across the 70 series range. I had a couple of looks at a workmate 76 series, and yeah, it was obvious, full-blown obvious that it was a full mine car, and yeah, definitely wasn't interested. Obviously I checked out the auctions, seen a couple of greys online that looked pretty much in my price range back then. Went down, again same story, ex-mine car, chassis blistering full of rust and all that. Did not want something like that, especially if I was going to spend a little bit more than what I was actually intending to spend. So going from there, I was on a hunt, and one of the Toyota dealerships up in Darwin posted one up for sale. So I sent him an offer via email. He rejected it and pretty much laughed at me. He dropped, about a month later, he dropped it down again by a couple of grand. I turned around and offered him money, again my original price, and he goes, nah. A couple of weeks later, I said it dropped down very, very close to my offer. So I thought, alright, I might have this in the bag. So I called him up and said, listen, right, cash. I got 90% cash to actually spend on it. I can wire you some money and the rest of it I will actually pay in cash. Started to get it all tested and checked out before I actually booked my flights. He got back to me and goes, yep, alright, I'll take your offer. And pretty much wired in, I think it was 10 grand deposit. All up there with the rest of the money in my back pocket pretty much, which is probably most scariest time going through the airport. And yeah, picked me up from the airport, took it out for a test drive, had a look at it underneath. Perfect. I was perfectly happy with it. Had a couple of fruits on it. Old Man Emu lift kit, ARB bull bars, scrub bars, just basic mods like that. And yeah, full service history, which is what I was chasing anyway. I didn't want something that hadn't been looked after. So from that, ended up buying it, worked out the finances on shipping it versus driving it back. It worked out that it was actually cheaper for me to ship it back once I added in fuel, accommodation, because I'm obviously not going to fly out there with my slag and so on and so on. So yeah, and 2 weeks later it rocked up. Yeah, I already transferred in my name. Beautiful. And that's pretty much how I started getting into full driving. Obviously my content's not going to be as good as everybody else's out there, mainly because I haven't invested as much money into my channel as to say Ronnie Dahl, Explore Life and so on and so on. But at the same time, it is going to be very basic to start out with. As time progresses, I will be upgrading cameras, and obviously I'll be getting more used to the whole editing side of things. I did do it a little bit in high school, in 12, but it's been a long time since then, being 38 now, so. I've had it for 2 years now, and realistically I've only gone deer hunting once. My first time, and yeah, I've got a deer, and been eating it for the last 3 months on lockdown, which I'm not complaining. I haven't bought steak for God knows how long. I feel I've eaten it once in 3 monthse. Venison's just a lot more better, and I'll probably start next year, get into it a little bit more. Obviously Corona has held me back a little bit this year. So where do I get into camping and whatnot? As a young tacker, my old man actually had a quarter of an acre on an island out the back of Lake's entrance, and yeah, we used to go down there a little bit as kids and that, camping. It's a little bit glamping because yeah, it had a communal hall, so to speak, and had a shower and whatnot there, so yeah, it wasn't really roughing it that hard, but yeah, sleeping in tents and whatnot. Also, I spent most of my childhood living on 30-acre hobby farm at the back of the western suburbs of Melbourne, and yeah, most of my time as a kid was spent catching yabbies and all that. I used to hate it when I was a kid. As an adult, I look back on it and think that was the best times of my life. I wish I was still there. But, you know, as things is, and now I'm living in suburbia. I work on the railways, so most of my trips, I'm fortunate enough to only have to work a 4-day week, well, 4 nights a week. And yeah, most of my trips you probably see me leaving Melbourne in the very early hours of the morning, driving up just to get into the bush. Normally it's the high country that we head up to, and set out camp and have an easy night on the beers, and yeah, wake up again and start hitting the tracks. So yeah, I dare say that I will actually be getting asked a fair few times as this channel progresses, where did the name Puumba come from for the 79 series? To cut a long story short there, Puumba was actually probably my favourite dog that I've ever owned in my life. He was a rescue staffy. It was actually used as a bait dog. When I got him full of scars, everything's cost me a lot of money to get him back into gear, and a lot of time I invested in him. A hell of a lot of time just to get him mentally back right to be good with other dogs. In the end, he unfortunately died, and probably about roughly 6 months later is when I picked up the 79. I'll throw a picture up to actually show you the reason why I named the 79 after the Puumba. He used to love the mud, which you'll see in the photo. Some of my most probably memorable trips have been so far. Dog's Grave up in the high country, I actually really enjoyed that one. Obviously being the dog and still missing my old boy. And Ayers Rock, Kings Canyon. Ayers Rock, I went up there just before they closed down the climb, and yeah, ended up climbing up the rock. I know some people for it, some people against it. I honestly reckon it was one of the best things that I've ever done, and I should have done it a lot earlier. I always thought it was just some big stupid rock in the middle of a stupid desert. Down near Cooper Pedy, on the way up there, we camped probably 10 k's out. I seen the moon actually set at like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, which I was like, wow. You know, where are you actually going to see that? A lot of our high country trips as well, you usually see us stop in one of the old country pubs. It's been one of my rules of, I don't do the trip planning for those ones, but it's been one of my rules for one of my mates to actually incorporate that. So pretty much what we tried, rock up to a country pub. The rules of it is no poker machines. Pull in there for lunch, have a beer, and then get back out there again. I hope you guys enjoyed this video blog. I've pretty much just done it just to give you guys a little bit of a lowdown on who I am, what I'm about, car, and everything else. Obviously, still new to being in front of the camera and a little bit nervous, but obviously that happens with time. You get over it. You get used to actually talking into the little tiny black box looking at me right now. Please, again, like and subscribe. It does me a world of favours. The more likes and subscribes I can get out there, thumbs ups, the works, is just gonna help the channel grow. I've got a couple of little projects later on. I will also be doing a very somewhat different suspension
build on my car shortly once all this coronavirus stuff settles down. I believe there's only one other car in Australia with this specific suspension setup, so definitely stay tuned for that one, and I'll be doing a good review out in the bush. And enjoy your beers if you're having one. If not, enjoy your cold can or cup of tea, and I'll see you out there. Take care.